بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Math grade 5. Today we want to revise lesson 8 in chapter 11. Display measurement data on a line plot. Display measurement data on a line plot. See with me now this video.
What is 3 plus 4? Check your answer here to earn fun.
Visit no ad-free videos and more.
Yeah, we're in the 4th grade analyzing the data we got about how many inches we grew in a year on a line plot. First we'll find a common denominator. Next we'll convert to equivalent fractions for the data. From 0 to 4 inches, we'll draw the line plot. Our intervals are quarter inches each, is given a spot. We'll plot each data point and we won't stop until the unit's on the bottom and the title's on the top. Top.
First find a common denominator, make equivalent fractions for all the data. Plot what you got on the line plot with the label and the title at the top.
Now we're writing the 5th graders' growth data down. How many inches they grew in a year is what we had found. First we'll find a common denominator. Next we'll convert to equivalent fractions for the data. From 0 to 4 inches, we'll draw the line plot. Our intervals are quarter inches each, is given a spot. We'll plot each data point and we won't stop until the unit's on the bottom and the title's on the top.
First find a common denominator, make equivalent fractions for all the data. Plot what you got on the line plot with the label and the title at the top.
Now we'll analyze the 2 line plots we made and see that the students grew more in the 4th grade. The 5th graders grew less, but that was okay, because overall the 5th graders are taller anyway. And we 4th graders don't care. We may be shorter, but we rock math every week of every quarter.
First find a common denominator, make equivalent fractions for all the data. Plot what you got on the line plot with the label and the title at the top.
Visit numberrock.com for ad-free videos.
Now see this video.
Okay, class. Who would like to do problem 3 on the board?
Representing measurements with line plots. An ordered list, or table of measurements, is data that can be represented using a line plot. Let's use the data from this table of measurements that students generated based on the lengths of various objects in class using a 4-inch fractional ruler. Since our data consists of measurements between 1/4 and 4 inches, with an accuracy of 1/4 of an inch, our line plot should have categories to represent all these measurements. Remember that a line plot shows the total count for each category represented. We draw a horizontal line, and then divide it into 4 equal parts. These will mark whole numbers from 0 to 4. Then, we divide the space between every 2 whole numbers into 4 equal parts. This way, we can mark 4ths of an inch. In the table, we have 3 measurements of 1/4 of an inch. So we draw 3 crosses on top of the mark for 1/4. And there are 5 for 1/2 of an inch. So we draw 5 crosses on top of the mark for 1/2. For 3/4 of an inch, we only have one measurement. So we draw only 1 cross. Then comes 1 inch with 6 measurements. So we draw 6 crosses. There are no measurements of 1 1/4 inch, so we don't put any crosses. For 1 1/2 inches, we have 4 measurements. So we draw 4 crosses. And we continue drawing crosses for all remaining measurements. Now our line plot is done. Great! Now we can look at this plot and answer questions about the measurements the students made. For example, what is the measurement that occurred the most? This question asks about the length that is most represented in the line plot, correct? This means that we want to find the length that has the most crosses. The line plot shows that 3 1/2 inches has the most crosses. So 3 1/2 inches is the length that occurred the most. In this lesson, you learned how to use line plots to represent whole and fractional measurements of length.
So today we want to revise what's the meaning of line plot and how to represent the numbers inside line plot. As you see here, we have number line, and here we have numbers from 1 to 11. Up the one here, we have the 3 axes, 1, 2, 3, means number 1 repeated 3 times. Here no x's means no repeated, and here also. Number 4 here has just 1 x, means repeated just 1 time. Here no, here no, here no, here no, means no values here. Here number 9, up the number 9 here we have 2 axes, means 9 repeated 2 times. Number 10 here, no values, no values. This is the meaning of line plot. This is the meaning of line plot. See with me now this video.
Hi, 5th graders. Welcome to Lesson 9.1, Line Plots. The essential question for this lesson is, how can a line plot help you find an average with data given in fractions? Now, go ahead and open up in your Go Math workbooks to Lesson 9.1, found on page 183, and let's get started. Now, let's take a look at this first slide together. It says use the data to complete the line plot. Now, a line plot is simply a way to represent and visualize data. We're going to be able to visually see using our line plot how the data is represented. Now, our problem says a clerk in a health food store makes bags of trail mix. The amount of trail mix in each bag is listed below. So what you see right here is the amount of trail mix listed or given in each bag. So we're now going to complete our line plot down here using that data. So what I'm going to do is this, because my first number here, the first amount that I come to is my 1/4 pound, I'm going to now go ahead and count how many 1/4 pound bags of trail mix we encounter in our data set. And what I know is this. I know that our first amount is 1/4 of a pound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross off that 1/4 pound, and I'm going to, above that 1/4 in my line plot, go ahead and put an X to represent that 1/4 pound. Now, that's 1. Now here's 2. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that one off as well. And I'm going to add another X above my 1/4 pound. So we have 1, 2, so far 1, 2 X's. Now I'm going to go across until I get to my next 1/4 pound. So here's 3. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off the 1/4 pound here, and I'm going to put another X above my 1/4 down there. Now let's continue our count. Here's another 1/4 pound, so that makes 4. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that one off as well, and I'm going to place another X in my line plot. So what I know is this. In the data set, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4 pounds. And what I know is now in my line plot, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 X's to represent those 4 1/4 pound bags. Now I'm going to come across to my next number, which is our 1/2. And I'm going to begin to make a count again of how many now 1/2 pound bags we have of trail mix. So I'm going to go ahead and begin, and I see right here we have 1 of our 1/2 pound bags. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cross that off, and I'm going to put an X above our 1/2. Now I'm going to continue counting. Here's another one, so that makes 2. So we're going to go ahead and cross that one off and place another X here. Now we'll continue our count. Here's 3, so we'll go ahead and cross that one out and place an X above the 1/2. And then here's 4. So we'll cross that one off and place another X above our 1/2 as well. So for the 1/2 pound bags, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. So in our line plot, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 X's. Now my last step is to count how many 3/4 pound bags we have. So I'm going to go back to my data set and make my count. Here's 1, so I'm going to go ahead and cross out that 3/4 pound, and I'm going to place an X above the 3/4. We'll continue counting. Here's 2, so we'll cross out that 3/4 pound and put an X above our 3/4. Here's 3, so we'll go ahead and cross that one out as well. Place another X above the 3/4. And then here is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that 3/4 pound off and place another X above our 3/4 in the line plot. Now what I know is there's 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4 pound in our data set, and there's now 1, 2, 3, 4 X's in our line plot. What I also notice is, looking at our data set, I see that all of our numbers have been crossed off or crossed out, and that means I've accounted for every number in the data set. It's a good strategy to use as you complete your line plot. So we now have our line plot completed for this data set. Now let's take a look at question number 1 together. As you can see, question number 1 has already been completed for us, but it's a good model or example to show us how to use our line plot in order to complete a given question. For number 1, it says, what is the combined weight of the 1/4 pound bags? So I know that I'm focusing on the 1/4 pound bags. Now remember, in our line plot, we knew that there were 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 1/4 pound bags. So what I can do is this. I can take my 1/4, and over here I'm going to write down my 1/4, and I'm going to multiply that by 4, because once again, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 X's. Now, when I do that, what I know I can do is this. In multiplication, I can take that whole number 4 and I can put it over a 1 to put it in fraction form. And now I'm going to look to see, can I simplify diagonally? Well, I know that I have a 4 and a 4 and a 1 and a 1. And I know with those two 4s, I can simplify. So I'm going to cross those 4s out, and I'm going to make both of those 4s into 1s. Now when I multiply across, here's what I have. 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. And I know once again that 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. And if I have the whole number 1 as my numerator, and also the whole number 1 as my denominator, I know that my answer is going to turn out to be 1 whole. So that's how we're coming up with an answer of 1 pound. So the combined weight of the 1/4 pound bags is going to be 1 pound, because 1/4 times 4 takes me to 1. Now let's take a look at question number 2. Question 2 says, what is the combined weight of the 1/2 pound bags? So what I'm going to do this time is, in my line plot, I'm now going to focus on the 1/2 pound bags. And what I know is this. Based on the number of X's, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2 pound bags. So I can utilize the strategy that we did on the last question, and what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take my 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and write down 1/2. And I'm going to multiply that once again by the number 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2 pound bags. So I'm going to multiply 1/2 times 4. Remember, I can place a 1 underneath that 4 to put it in fraction form. Now I'm going to look diagonally to see if I can simplify. I have a 1 and a 1 and a 2 and a 4. And what I know is I can simplify that 2 and that 4. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out the 2 and the 4. That 2 is going to become a 1 because 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. And that 4 is going to become a 2 because 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply straight across. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. And what I know is this. I know that 1 times 2 is going to give me 2. So our numerator is going to be a 2. And I know that 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. So our denominator is going to be a 1. And if I have the whole number 2 over 1, I know my answer is going to turn out to be 2. So what that tells me is the combined weight of the 1/2 pound bags is going to turn out to be 2 pounds. So we'll go ahead and write down 2 pounds, and we now have found our answer using our line plot. Now let's take a look at question number 3. Question 3 says, what is the combined weight of the 3/4 pound bags? So I know that in my line plot this time, I'm going to focus on the 3/4 pound bags. And I know based on the number of X's, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 3/4 pound bags. So I'm going to use the strategy that we did for the last couple of questions. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take my 3/4, and since there are, once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 X's, I'm going to multiply that 3/4 by 4. Now, once again, I'm going to put that 4 over 1 to put it in fraction form. Now I'm going to look diagonally to see, can I simplify? And what I know is I have a 3 and a 1 and also a 4 and a 4. And I know that I can simplify those two 4s. So I'm going to go ahead and cross those 4s out and make both of those 4s into 1s. Now we're ready to go ahead and multiply across. So I have 3 times 1, which is going to give me 3. So 3 becomes the numerator. And now I have 1 times 1, which is going to give me 1. So 1 is my denominator. 3 over 1. And then my answer turns out to be the whole number 3. So what that tells me is when it asks for the combined weight of the 3/4 pound bags, 3 pounds. So we'll go ahead and write that down, and we now have our answer using our line plot. Now, for question number 4, it says, what is the total weight of the trail mix used in all the bags? Now remember, we had our line plot completed with our X's, and in the last few slides, we found the total weight of each one of those. So for 1/4 pound, since there were 1, 2, 3, 4 X's, our total weight was 1 pound. For the 1/2 bags, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 of those bags. And so we multiplied 4 times 1/2 and came up with 2 pounds. And for the last weight, there was 3/4, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 3/4 pound bags. So when you multiply 3/4 times 4, it takes you to 3 pounds. Now this question once again says, what is the total weight? So if I'm going to find the total weight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those amounts together. So I'm going to be adding my 1 pound plus my 2 pounds plus my 3 pounds. And when I add those amounts together, 1 plus 2 is going to give me 3, and 3 plus 3 is going to give me 6. So that tells me that there's going to be 6 pounds of the trail mix used in all of the bags. And we now have our total weight. Now let's take a look at question number 5. It says, what is the average amount of trail mix in each bag? Now the key word here is the word average. And in order to find the average, it simply means the middle or the mean of all of your data set. So there's a couple of steps we're going to take in order to find the average amount of trail mix in each bag. Step number 1, you have to find the sum of the weights of the bags of trail mix. And what we know is from our last slide is this. That means we have to add the 1 plus the 2 plus the 3. And when I add the 1 pound plus the 2 pounds plus the 3 pounds, that gives me a total of 6 pounds. So we now have the weight of those pounds of trail mix. Now, step number 2 is this. We now have to divide. And we're going to divide the sum, which is 6, by the number of bags. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my line plot and I'm going to make a count of all of my X's. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 6 and I'm going to be dividing that by the 12 bags. So we have our 6 pounds divided by the 12 bags. Now, what I know that means is this. I can also write that in fraction form. So we have our 6, and remember that line can represent a fraction or also division. So 6 divided by 12. Now, I know that I can't leave 6/12 as my final answer because I know that I can divide both a 6 and a 12 by 6. So when I do that, I know that 6 divided by 6 is going to give me 1. So our numerator becomes a 1. And I know that 12 divided by 6 is going to give me a 2. So now what I know is the average amount of trail mix in each bag is 1/2 pound. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my 1/2 pound. And we now have the answer to our question. We know the average or the middle or mean of our data set. Now, as your homework for tonight, you need to complete question number 1 and question number 2, as well as numbers 3 through 6 found in your Go Math workbook on page 184. Don't forget, somewhere on your homework page, I want you to assess yourself. Do you feel like you're number 1, a novice, number 2, an apprentice, number 3, a practitioner, or number 4, an expert?
So this is the meaning of the line plot. For example here, make a line plot of the measurement in table, then find the fair share. Then find the fair share. In this table here, we have amount of juice by gallon. We have here 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. How to draw the line plot? The first step, draw number line. Then represent the numbers on the number line. Here we have 0, and here we have 1. Divide the distance between 0 and 1 to the 4 equal pieces. The first piece here means 1/4. The second piece here means 2/4 or 1/2, the same value, equivalent. And the third piece here we have 3/4. Then here we have 4/4 or equal 1. Also the same value or equivalent. So how many 1/4 we have in the table? Here we have 1, 2, 3. So go to the 1/4, then draw 3 x's. Then how many 1/2 we have in the table here? Go to the number line. This is 1/2. Then draw 1x. Then how many 3/4? Here we have just 1. Go to the number line now. Up 3/4, draw just 1x. Here no value, because no data 0 and 1 inside the table. After you draw the number line, how to find the fair share? Fair share means the best value for this data and the center value. The rule said add the all numbers inside the table. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/2 plus over 3 plus 3/4. Then divide by the amount of the numbers. How many numbers we have inside this data? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So divide by 5. Now when you want to add the fractions, add the like fractions. For example, here we have 4 and 4 and 4. We can add directly here. 1 plus 1 plus 1 will be 3/4. Then here we have 1/2. Then here we have 3/4. Then we can add here 3/4 by 3/4. 3 plus 3 will be 6/4 plus 1/2. Here I cannot add directly because here we have alike fractions. Find LCD. So you can multiply here 1 over 2, multiply 1 by 2 and multiply 2 by 2, or you can, the second way, you can do simplest form for the 6 over 4. Divide by 2, 6 divide by 2 and 4 divide by 2. 6 divide by 2 will be 3, 4 divide by 2 will be 2. Now, as you see here, we have like fractions. You can add directly. 3 plus 1 will be 4 over 2. And here we have 5. Now we have 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 will be 2 over 5. So the fair share here will be 2 over 5. Will be 2 over 5. The second example. Also here we have data inside the table, animal weight by ton. And we want to draw the line plot. Then we want to find the fair share. The first step, draw the number line. As you see here, the denominator will be 6. The big number here by denominators will be what? Will be 6. So determine 0 and 1. Then divide the distance between 0 and 1 to the 6 equal pieces. At the first one, put 1 over 6. The second one, 2 over 6. The third one, 3 over 6 or 1 over 2. The center, the middle. Then the fourth one, 4 over 6. Then 5 over 6. Then here we have 6 over 6 or equal 1, equivalent. Now go back to the table. How many 1 over 6 do you have here? Just 1, so put 1x. How many 2 over 6 we have here? Just here we have 1, so put 1x. How many 1 over 2 we have in the table? We have 1, 2, 3, so put 3x's. Then how many 4 over 6 we have here? Just we have 1. So this is now the line plot. How to find the fair share? Try to add the all numbers inside the data. We can write 1 over 6 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 4 over 6 plus 4 over 2 plus 2 over 6. Divide the amount of numbers. How many numbers do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can write fair share equal the sum of the numbers inside the table, divide by the amount of the numbers. We have 6 numbers. Now add the like fractions. Here we have 6, 6, and here 6. We can add the all of fractions. 1 plus 2 here 3 plus 4 will be 7 over 6. Then here we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2. 1 plus 1 plus 1 will be 3 over 2. Here I cannot add directly. Find the LCD. Then do it like fractions. So here multiply by 2, multiply by 2, 3 multiply by, multiply by 3, multiply by 3. 3 multiply by 3 will be 9. 2 multiply by 3 will be 6. Now you can add now because you have now like fractions. 7 plus 9 will be 16 over 6. And here we have 6. Up we have fraction and down we have whole number. Change the whole number to the fraction, so put 6 equals 6 over 1. Now we have rule here how to divide the two fractions. The rule said keep the same number on the numerator, 16 over 6. Then change the operation from divide to the multiply. Then flip. 6 over 1 will be 1 over 6. Then how to multiply? Numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. 16 times 1 will be 16. 6 times 6 will be 36. Then find the simplest form. Now 16, find GCF between 16 and 36 will be 4. 16 divided by 4 will be 4. And 36 divided by 4 will be 9. So this is the meaning of the line plot. How to draw the line plot. How to represent the data, and how to put the frequently the repeated numbers using the point or using the cross or X's. Then how to find.
Mr. Mario was here.
Okay. Then how to find the fair share. When you want to find the fair share, add the all numbers inside the data, divide by the amount. The numbers divide by the amount of numbers. So this is our revision today. Okay, this is our revision today. Who has a question now? Who has a question about our lesson? Who can tell me how to draw the line plot? How to draw the line plot? What I do?
We draw a line.
The first step, draw number line. Then what I do?
Write the numbers. We write
Represent numbers. Great. Represent the numbers on the line plot. Then what I do?
Then you see how many they are, and then you mark on top.
Make the fair share.
Great, Nagam. Then I will put the frequently, the repeated numbers. I will represent the repeated numbers using the dot or using cross or using any signal, no problem. Then how to find the fair share? How to find the fair share?
We add them, and then we divide them by how many they are.
Great. So when you want to find the fair share means the best value, the value in the center of this data. Add or the sum of or the numbers inside the data, divide by the amount of this data, divide by the amount of this data. And now this is our revision. Who has a question about this revision or out this revision? Who has any question now?
أستاذ أنا عندي سؤال. ما فهمت الفير شير مع example 2.
Okay. When you want to find the fair share, go to the data. This is the data. You have inside the data here numbers as a fractions here. So what we do here, the first step, add the all fractions. Add the all fractions. Write 1/6 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 4/6 plus 1/2 plus 2/6. Then divide by the amount of the numbers. How many numbers you have inside the data? You have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can write now, this is the sums, 1/6 plus 2/6 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 4/6, divide by the amount. How to add the fractions? Always remember, when you want to add the fractions, add the like fractions, add the like fractions. So here we have 6, here we have 6, here we have 6. So I can add 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 will be 3, plus 4 will be 7. So I can write here 7 over the same denominator over 6 plus. I can add 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 because the three fractions here like fractions. So if I write 1 plus 1 plus 1 will be 3 over the same denominator over 2. Now I cannot add directly because here different denominators means alike fractions. So change to like fractions. How? Find LCD between 6 and 2 will be 3. Then multiply the whole fraction here by 3. 3 multiplied by 3 will be 9. 3 multiplied by 2 will be 6. Then you can add now. Here we have 7/6 and here 9/6. Now you have like fractions. You can add now. 7 plus 9 will be 16 over the same denominator here over 6. And here change the whole number to the fraction. How to change the whole number to the fraction? Just put 1 on the denominator here, will be 6/1. Now we have divided two fractions. When you want to divide the two fractions, the rule said the first step, keep the numerator. Keep the numerator, will be here 16/6, the same number. Then change the divide to the multiply. Change the divide to the multiply. Then flip the denominator. How? Switch, put the numerator and the numerator. So 6/1 will be 1/6. Now we have multiply between two fractions. How to multiply? 16 multiplied by 1 will be 16, and 6 multiplied by 6 will be 36. Now do simplest form. Find the GCF between 16 and 36. 16 divided by 4 will be 4, and 36 divided by 4 will be 9. So this is the fair share. Okay. Now, who has a question? Okay.
Nobody.
Let us to take attendance now.
Mr. Finish. مستر لو سمحت الجرز أول.
Okay. Today, Wednesday. This is the first period. Asil here.
Yes.
Great. Aliazia.
Yes, Mr.
Great. Jude.
Here.
Zinad.
Yes, Mr. Mr. Can I leave?
Yes, you can. Rawda.
نعم.
Shamsa.
Here, Mr.
Great. Sheikha. Ahmad.
Yes.
Sheikha Badr. Sheikha
Yes,
Badr.
Mr.
Great.
Yes,
Alia.
Mr.
Great. Sheikha. Alia. Alia Khalid.
Yes, Mr. Mr. I have a small
Yeah.
question. Can I ask you?
Yes, ask me.
Do we have anything important tomorrow?
This week and the next week, just we have revision because we finished our math book. No new lessons. Just we have revision. Just we have revision. So tomorrow and the second week or the next week, we have just Latifa.
Thank you. Bye, Mr.
Great, fine. Lean.
She final.
Lean. Lean. Where is Lean? Absent. Okay, Maria.
Mr. Which day our
Boys stay. Yes. Maria. Maria. Marwa. Marwa.
here?
Yes. Mariam here. Mahra Faisal.
Yes. Mr. Which day we will the weekend will start?
The weekend for what?
After quizzes. تقصد
You have
الهوليداي.
You have holiday after 29 6 2020. After the last day of the exam, the last day of your exam, the mathematics on 28 on 28. Okay, Moza,
Yes, Mr.
Nagam,
Yes, Mr.
Noura, Noura, absent. Hajar,
نعم مستر.
Mahra Khalfan, absent. Mahra. Okay, Now, girls, you can leave now. Now, boys, today Wednesday, the first period. Bobby.
نعم أستاذ.
Great. حارب. حمد علي.
نعم أستاذ.
منصور علي.
نعم أستاذ.
حمدان الكعبي. حمدان الكعبي.
نعم أستاذ.
تمام. خالد خليل. خالد. اوكي. دانيال.
Yes,
دانيال. زايد. اوكي. سعيد محمد.
نعم أستاذ.
سعيد. تمام.
مستر أيام زايد. مستر أيلين.
زايد here. اوكي. Yes, you can.
مستر
سلطان علي.
أنا نورة، أنا موجودة.
اوكي. سلطان علي.
نعم أستاذ.
سلطان غازي. سلطان غازي. عامر الكعبي.
أستاذ أنا موجود.
مين انت؟ شو اسمك؟
عمر أحمد.
تمام. طيب، عبد الله الحمادي موجود. عبد الله راشد موجود. عبد الله الجابري.
نعم. أستاذ أطلع.
اطلع. عبد الله مسعود. عبد الله مسعود. عمر أشرف.
نعم أستاذ موجود.
تمام. عمير الشامسي. فلاح.
نعم.
مايد.
نعم.
محمد أحمد الحمادي.
هون أستاذ.
تمام. محمد سعيد سويحي.
نعم أستاذ.
تمام. مطاوع.
نعم أستاذ.
تمام. معاذ.
Here.
Great. Okay, boys. Thank you. You can leave now. Now, Noura here. Okay.
Mr. I am Maria. I am here. من المايك عندي يعلق من أول لما بدي أحكي اسمي.
Okay, Maria. Okay, no. Okay. So this is our revision today. Thank you for your listening. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.